I love the Bridge Group. They always share incredible insights. And I want to be able to share with you just something that I find kind of really interesting and doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like counterintuitive to the sales community. Hopefully, you can see my screen. I'm just going to double check that on LinkedIn that I am sharing my screen, which is great. Okay, here's something from the Bridge Group, which does incredible studies. You can find they do a SaaS AEAM kind of huge diagnostic from compensation, win rates, quota attainment, size of market, marketing contribution to sales, percentage of sellers that need to self-source, all this. But this is centered around a huge disconnect. And this is kind of the reason that I started Get Leverage, was because I saw that sales and marketing talent costs were moving in the wrong direction, productivity moving in the wrong direction. And so companies' cost of customer acquisition over lifetime value just didn't make any sense. Margins were eroding and profitability was suffering. And this is going to kind of be like icing on the cake. This is definitive proof. Okay, so I'm going to paint this as I am Instagramming. I'm doing this live on LinkedIn, and I'm also filming this for content at the same time. So what I'm showing you on my screen right now are win rates. So what it's showing that from 2022, the ultimate kind of peak of the market period of time, win rates have declined from 23% to 19%. And I've been talking about this before. If you are a sales organization that touts your sellers, I need you to be focused on 3x pipeline coverage, you're totally wrong. That means you win 33% of your deals, which you do not. There are very few sales organizations that are winning at that clip in this market. It's actually showing that the average company, now I've seen this done by Winning by Design that says it's a 17% winning ratio. And what Bridge Group is kind of aligned to this, it's 19% win ratio. That means your pipeline coverage isn't 3-to-1. It's actually it used to be you needed 4.3 times pipeline coverage to win rate. Now you need 5.3. Okay, so that's the first marker. We're moving in the wrong direction. We need more opportunities to get us where we need to go to. The quota attainment. Quota attainment 2 years ago, but now the average rep is now given, it's a sharp decline from 66% of reps were making quota to now 51%. Okay, so it's moving further. We found that the highest share of respondents under 50% quota, this is the largest in history, percentage of sellers not making quota. So you're putting all this money out in the market and you're taking a 50% bet that they're even going to hit their quota. And quota over time. So now I'm scrolling down one. This is a 10-year horizon. In 2012, according to the Bridge Group study, they're showing that 74% of sellers would make quota. That's pretty good. 3 out of 4 of your sellers were going to make your quota. Now it's, call it half. Now, this is, in my opinion, this is even optimistic. I've seen studies that have shown 22 and 23% of sellers making quota. So that's think of this as like an axis. What you've shown is that the money you're deploying towards your sales contribution, sales and marketing contribution, is moving in the wrong direction. So you're piling money into your sales and marketing contribution, and half of it's being lit on fire. Now you're selling something, but what it's not showing you, 50% of sellers are making quota and 50% aren't. They should actually do a deeper study on the 51% of sellers not making their quota, or the 49, whichever that number is, and then identify at what point were you actually losing money on these sellers. Like if you took their base, their OTE and commissions and their desk fees, like all the software and the employment costs and the operational expenses of having these teammates, were you actually losing money against these people? So that's the first baseline. Now we're going to flip the axis. The axis is now on compensation. What I'm seeing here in North America is that the North American seller is demanding more and more and more salary expectation. Why? I mean, it's getting more expensive to live here. And so the on-target earnings, and it's showing here, it's a 53 to 47% ratio between base plus commission equals OTE on-target earnings. It's showing continuing a decade-long trend. The median on-target earnings rose to record highs in 2024. It used to be that it moved with inflation, 2%. Now it's moving at a 5% compounded growth. Let me get this straight. You're a CEO, you're a CFO deploying capital. And now the bets that you're making are half as good as they used to be. Like 50% of your sellers aren't even going to make their quota. Yet the demand on that capital has grown at a 5% compounded growth. You're now expected to spend $190,000 on target, and your base is 100. There's $100,000 going out the door to sellers that aren't going to make their quota. 50% of them aren't even going to make their quota. And I'd love to know the study on the percentage that actually lost you money. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is we have such a legacy bias where we assume that the things that sellers need to do are all the things in sales. What I would love deeper into this study is this, and there's already been studies on this, that 20% of a seller's week is being spent on $5 an hour tasks, administrivia. Why? Because like a legacy, if we go back to these two studies, we are somehow allowing quota to fall, paying more for that quota to fall, and we're saying, well, that's just the nature of sales. But that's not true. Why are we getting our sellers to spend 1 out of every 5 days building TAM map lists, updating databases, enriching data, sending emails, sending LinkedIn posts, updating CRM, combing through inbound leads? This is $5 an hour tasks that other people could be doing. And if you got back 1 day of every week for each one of your sellers, what could they do with that? What could they do with 1 day times 50 weeks? That's 50 sales extra days. Can that help us get to improved quota attainment when we're back here at that kind of marker of 6 out of 10 sellers making quota, or 6 to 7 out of 10 sellers making quota? All we need to do is change the variable that the percentage of sellers' time being spent on non-selling tasks, which are they are having discovery calls with customers, they are doing demos, they are engaged in negotiating and having proposal conversations, they're negotiating contracts, they're winning deals, they are upselling and cross-selling existing customers. Those are the $500 an hour value creators, not updating CRM. So I hope you find this valuable. I'm going to stop sharing, and I really do hope that you find this valuable, because sellers and your cost of customer acquisition is moving such in the wrong direction. But there's an incredible opportunity for your organization if you just rethink what sellers are spending their time on.